We're talking about the meaningful meaninglessness of life, psychoanalytical political philosophy of deconstructing clichés. And with regards to 500 Days of Summer, I'm going to make you Tom love autumn. So I have a vendetta because I'm waiting for the sequel, and they won't make it. So, if you guys have seen 500 Days of Summer, basically it's a guy and every man falls in love with a dream girl summer, and then a predicament happens where it's not really a spoiler because it's sort of intrinsic. She sort of disappears from his life, and her explanation is that it's sort of meant to be, and then he's faced with a season in his life afterwards where he has to deal with significant sadness, and he's got to figure it out. Psychoanalytical philosophy, why is this thing moving so fast? Yes, it's basically a postmodern thought. It takes human psychoanalysis, feasible politics, and the basic question originally is people consciously and unconsciously exist in relation to one another. So in what ways and what is that? I'm not going to talk about that. I just want to throw a big word in there so you guys can show up. And so you've heard of some of these people, guys, girls, there's thoughts and stuff. It's all that stuff. So whether you know it or not, it doesn't matter. I know some of you do know it. There's a grad student over here who knows a lot about it. So it's that stuff. And the basic premise that they're all arguing about, what philosophers do, they argue about how much they disagree about something that they disagree on. So they disagree about how they disagree, or how they agree. Stop that. And the basic premise is that everything is meaningless. So nothing has meaning. If you think it has meaning, it means something to you, but everything is meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Be convinced of that. That's how we're going to move forward. So what's this, right? Oh, chairs, right? Two different forms, right? So if I ask you to tell me what chair means, the name chair, or the word symbol, the lexical symbol, what is chair, you might say something like, oh, it's, a sort of surface with support, maybe some lumbar backing, but most importantly, it's something you can sit in. And then I, Jean-Paul Sartre, say, or Jacques Derrida say, no, you haven't defined chair. You've only talked about your intention to sit in the chair. And so by naming something, you've actually constructed something that tells us a lot about you, not a lot about the thing. And so we still don't know what chair is. And so we only sit in it because we choose to sit in it. We could sit on tables or people. So the basic premise is there's a name. The name is just any sort of thing that we all operate with and share. Word, sign, definition or concept, and then there's the reality or actual thing. So the chair itself, the molecular composition that we see and we sort of recognize because we're socialized and recognize it. Again, if you look at this, you realize that whatever name it is, and whatever thing it actually is, there's a lot in between there. There's a word that goes into different languages and different regions of the world, and then there's a concept or an imagination about that thing that can be vast. If you're in a culture where you sit on the floor, chair means nothing, right? So again, reiterate, nothing has meaning. This rule even applies to life. And people back in the day used to get mad at these philosophers like, you guys are jerks. You're saying none of us mean anything and none of this matters. But they were like, hold on. I'm doing you a favor, Tom. I'm doing you a favor. I'm telling you that nothing anyone has done before you, nothing anyone does around you matters for you. Nothing has value. And watch how they do something for you. So here's a cute female stranger. Cute guy, I'll say it, I don't care. Cute guy. And how did they get here? Strangers get here, not so. Not strangers. You'll ask me, maybe, but that would be, that's a different world. But how do we get there? How do you get to lovers from strangers? Well, she's not a different person. Her meaning hasn't changed. She just means something different to Tom. He's around her and he feels love. So he calls her his love. And vice versa, and so he gets to call her lover because she makes him feel loved. Right? She hasn't changed. You'll see in the movie, if you watch it, if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. She hasn't changed. And a lot of what goes on in the relationship is because Tom infuses meaning into Summer that might not be there. And we do it all the time. We do it all the time. What we say is what we think. So if we deconstruct words, which is huge in phenomenology, in linguistic philosophy, meaning creation. We deconstruct words to figure out what we actually know and how we're trying to relate to whatever reality was to which we're applying the word. But a lot of times we don't learn anything about what we know about the thing, we learn about ourselves. That's powerful. Words, they carry meaning, but it's meaning given. Words we use to explain, we give meaning to what we apply it to, but that meaning, I guess, is inside of us. So stuff we say is how we understand stuff. That's someone's world. If you want to clue into someone's consciousness, pay attention to semantics. People say, when I'm shouting at them in the library, oh, it's just semantics. And I say, aha. It is. That's why I can read your mind. So cliches, these things that everyone says over all sorts of generations, right? So it can tell us a lot about what the human race has been understanding. Even cliche movies, right? Which was ironically supposed to be non-cliche, but I'm sort of mad if they don't want to be cliche, they should make a sequel, but they won't return my emails or calls. But this is how we've been trying to understand life. Cliche, an expression which has been overused to the point of losing its original meaning. But again, we know the cliche, if the cliche is a reality, we switch it from being a symbol, the cliche hasn't lost any meaning because it never had any meaning. So we've lost touch with something. We lost touch with something, and for a time it was really good and worth passing around. And the people found a lot of meaning in it. But then our perception changed. And maybe if we deconstruct it and get back to the meaning, we can understand it. Now I've heard a lot of cliches. None of you are guilty in here, but I've heard a lot of cliches about how I should deal with losing my best friend. And some are good, and some are bad. Most of the good ones he told me long before anyone else did. The bad ones, they just don't work. They just don't work. They have no value for me. They may have value for the person, but what I value is that the person is trying. Good cliches and bad cliches. And this is just, look at this quickly. I know I don't have much time. Look at this quickly and see that, like, I've heard everything happens for a reason. I don't think it's that reason. I was 63, doing a lot of good. So if you're an atheist, or if you believe in God like I do, no good reason. God couldn't do it. But that's okay. So I'm going to tell you why it's okay. It must have been fate. Or people say, of all the people, of all the things, of all the places, you know, as if all the other places, all the other things, of all the other people didn't mean shit. Right? Sorry, Giselle, I had to say it. But at the end of the day, why do those things not have meaning? Right. Flip it on its head. Of all the people you could have met that day, great people. Great people. Or you could have met one really great person and you just blew them off. And they have meaning. You lost meaning. Summer is very cliche. I'm talking about the season. I'm talking about the present. Right? Dream girl. But also the season is very cliche, right? We all go do the same things. We've been doing it for years. And it means the same thing to everyone, whether you're active or not. You know, it's so much fun. Summer, right? Not really. I'll tell you what is fun. Here's some good cliches. Life is what you make it. When one door shuts, another one opens. You know, seasons follow each other. There's time after time. There's time after time. Even if my father's time got cut short, there's time right here. Right? There's time after time. You only live once. That's important. You only live once. You die once, and you keep living once. Whether you believe in God or not. Either it's in people, or it's upstairs. And then there's autumn. Autumn's a great cliche, but we've lost touch with it. We all have summer, right? And summer embodies all these bad cliches. Everything happens for a reason, must be fate. It's this great romanticized time. Summer is like when we all sit around and we wait for something to happen. We've waited for it, it's awesome, and we can't wait. How many of you do a lot of stuff proportionate to the time that you have in summer? I know I don't. Right. So the more we think summer has intrinsic meaning, the less we get out of it. So the more meaningful life is, before you got there, the less you have to do, the less you should do. You can just sit around, soak up the meaning, and it's great. But I'm going to tell you, painters don't find meaning in canvases that have already been painting on, unless they're really clever with their minds. But they find meaning in blank canvases. And that's what this is all about. Right? Summer has to end. And when she goes in the movie, and when she goes in real life, she's going to tell you, it just happened. It's like it was meant to be. Right? But does that make you feel better come autumn? Does that change the fact that it happened? Does that tell you anything about what you're going to do next? This says, just keep waiting. Stuff just happens. Summer happens. You enjoy it, you don't have to do anything about it, and then it goes. But how do you feel in fall? And how do you make fall with a meaning all its own? How do you change the meaning into autumn? Something with a far more beautiful connotation. Think about autumn. It's that time after summer when two people return to the office. Someone who wasted time because they romanticized summer and they thought summer was going to happen. And then someone who comes back with bronzed face, or if you're already bronzed like me, you come back black as night, right? Which is beautiful, and you come back, and those are two people. And that last person didn't wait for summer. They didn't even have summer. See, that last person made memories that last such that you can't even put a season on. It's going to extend past summer and past life, right? That last person was in autumn mode all along. See, they didn't think that summer was going to happen. They didn't think summer was something that happens. They thought of summer as something that you do. Summer to them was meaningless. Meaningless until they get there, right? And this is autumn. And so this is Tom talking to some random girl, right? After summer goes away. And the movie sort of leaves us there. I think, what is Tom going to do after summer goes away? He's going to dance. I remember autumn as a time when we were dancing in the leaves, watching University of Michigan townspeople, running around, dancing. My dad was doing crazy things, running around collecting leaves, for his garden, compost. But he was always in autumn mode. So when you realize the year is winding down and you wasted a season, or you made the most of the season, but the season must pass. It's not about what the season was before you got there. Because as you come back to the office, you realize you've got to work and you need to do that much. The free time that you had, you realize the responsibility is on you. So life is meaningless, and that's where you come in, because we can't afford to live off the meaning of others. We just can't. Whether God made the earth, or the earth just happened, what God did was what God did. What are you going to do? Right? Meaning is our responsibility. Life is our empty page. Right? And this, I'm going to read this right here. Meaning is us. Life is an assembly line. Each of us have the same job, to give it meaning. The same thing keeps happening over and over again. And it's meaningless every time it gets to a new person. When it gets passed to you, do your job. So basically what I'm going to say here is that life is Y times T. That's my equation. That's why I've deconstructed life. That's why I've taken all the bullshit out of it. This, it's time. It's, what people say is random events interrupted by divine order. Or it's order interrupted by divinely random events. Wow, it's happening. No. Kevin, we were talking about this. Sorry to put you on the spot, but we were. Life is just a window of opportunity, and it is an order of random events. It's a window of opportunity. And you have to ask yourself, if I wait, it might be gone, right? The time is gone. But if I act, it doesn't matter how much time I have. I am great. I am great. Think about a parent who loses a very, very young child. They took the time to infuse meaning in that child in their own mind, to love it. My grandmother lost her son named Bubba. Died of heart disease. My mom, she was younger than my mom, and it was like 5 weeks. They've never stopped talking about it. They never stopped talking about it. They didn't wait for him to grow up. They didn't wait for him to score his first goal in some soccer game. They didn't have that back in the 50s in Detroit. Make his first basket at a basketball game. They loved him right then. And it makes a difference. So when you think about this, it's sort of a spin-off of JFK's thing. Life is meaningless. It has nothing to offer. Ask not what this life can do for you. Ask what you can do for this life. If you don't know how to define the why, if you don't know what you is, if you don't know what it means yet, good. That's why you're still breathing.